LeBron, to me, is top 2 all time. Now, if you disagree, you disagree. Where I get annoyed is when somebody's acting like I'm hating or disrespecting. Let me tell you something about Michael Jordan. He's going to be brutally honest.
The NBA today looks very different from what it once was. Some fans believe the league has grown and adapted with time, while others, including Stephen A. Smith, argue that something important has been lost along the way. Now, one of the most influential figures the sport has ever known is preparing to enter the conversation. Michael Jordan, a name that still defines basketball excellence, is getting ready to speak publicly again. And according to Stephen A., when Jordan does speak, the impact will reach every corner of the league. His words are expected to challenge assumptions, spark debate, and force serious reflection across the NBA in 2025. Jordan is not returning to court, but his presence may be just as powerful. He is stepping into a media role with the intention to analyze, critique, and set the record straight where he believes the game has drifted. Stephen A. has been vocal about this moment, suggesting that Jordan's voice will carry even more force than his own. This isn't about headlines or hype. It's about confronting difficult conversations that many have avoided. As Jordan prepares to speak, Stephen A. urges fans to pay close attention, because this moment could redefine how basketball is discussed moving forward. Before diving deeper, viewers are encouraged to support the conversation by liking, subscribing, and staying connected for every major development. Stephen A. does not soften his expectations. He openly states that when Jordan returns during the 2025-26 season as a commentator or analyst, honesty will be at the center of everything he says. This will not be a performance shaped by alliances, image building, or commercial interests. Jordan is not entering this space to protect reputations or promote narratives. He is speaking as someone who helped elevate the NBA to global prominence through discipline, intensity, and winning. Stephen A. believes that level of authority gives Jordan the freedom to speak plainly while concerned for backlash. The timing, Stephen A. notes, is critical. The league is already facing growing criticism from fans, former players, and analysts who feel the sport has shifted away from its core principles. Questions about competitiveness, effort, and identity are becoming more common. Jordan's return places a spotlight on those concerns. This goes beyond statistics or highlight reels. It is about the spirit of the game, the standards that define greatness, and the culture surrounding today's NBA. Jordan represents an era built on toughness, accountability, and pride in performance. Stephen A. suggests that Jordan's perspective will naturally draw comparisons to the modern era, including the influence of current superstars like LeBron James. This is not framed as a personal attack, but as a broader discussion about how leadership, influence, and legacy have shaped the league's direction. Jordan's honesty, Stephen A. believes, will surface truths that may be uncomfortable for some but necessary for the future of the sport. As this moment approaches, one thing feels certain. When Michael Jordan speaks again, the NBA will be listening, and the conversation around the game may never sound the same.
Tell you something about Michael Jordan. He's going to be brutally honest.
Let me make this very clear when it comes to Michael Jordan. Stephen A. Smith wants people to understand that this is not speculation or hype. Jordan is preparing to speak with complete honesty, and that reality is unsettling for many across the league. Players, coaches, and executives alike know what his voice represents. This is someone who has never softened his expectations or adjusted his standards to make others comfortable. When Jordan speaks publicly in 2025, it signals that he is ready to challenge the status quo in a very visible way. Stephen A. stresses that this moment is not driven by resentment or refusal to accept change. Instead, it comes from deep respect for the sport itself. Jordan cares about how basketball is played, how it is taught, and how it is presented to the world. From his perspective, the game risks losing its edge if it becomes too gentle, too rehearsed, or too controlled by external influences. His commentary will focus on how shifts in style and mindset have altered the league's identity and why that matters for its future. This is not a passing remark or a dramatic tease. Stephen A. repeats the message with conviction. He believes Jordan will speak plainly, without editing his thoughts or adjusting his tone. There will be no protective language and no effort to soften the message. When someone whose career defined excellence in competition starts openly evaluating the modern game, The result carries more weight than a typical debate. Stephen A. frames it as something far bigger than commentary. According to him, this will feel less like an opinion and more like a moment of reflection for the entire league. Jordan's words are expected to challenge comfort, provoke discussion, and force people to reassess what basketball stands for today. This is not about nostalgia or reliving the past. It is about standards, responsibility, and preserving the heart of the game. And when the most respected figure in basketball history speaks from that place, it is bound to land like a wake-up call rather than background noise.
Jordan, I know, when talking basketball, he is as candid as it gets.
Stephen A. Smith pushes the conversation even further by making his role unmistakably clear. He openly says that if Michael Jordan shows even the slightest hesitation, he will be right there to challenge him to speak freely. Stephen A. does not want a cautious or reserved Jordan. He wants a version of Jordan who speaks with conviction and clarity, the one who does not dilute his thoughts. In his view, the NBA is in need of a strong, unmistakable voice, and he believes Jordan is uniquely positioned to fill that role. This makes it clear that Jordan's return is not about offering surface-level commentary or reacting to box scores. Stephen A. emphasizes that Jordan is stepping into the spotlight to examine the soul of the league itself. The focus will be on identity, mindset, and direction, not just plays and percentages. And if at any moment Jordan pauses or pulls back, Stephen A. says he will step in to remind him why this moment matters. For him, silence or restraint would be a missed opportunity for the league to hear what it truly needs. The dynamic between the two men highlights how deeply they both care about basketball's future. It is not driven by drama or attention, but by concern. Stephen A. believes they share the same conclusion, that something fundamental has shifted, and not for the better. He argues that today's NBA no longer carries the same intensity it once did. Rivalries feel muted. Physical edge has softened, and the sense of intimidation that once defined the league has faded. Stephen A. traces that turning point to a moment that reshaped the league's structure and mindset. He believes the balance changed when player movement and alliances became the norm, starting with LeBron James' decision to join forces in Miami. According to Stephen A., that move altered how teams were built and how competition was viewed across the league. Whether one agrees or not, he sees it as a defining chapter that reshaped the NBA's competitive landscape forever. And now, with Jordan preparing to speak and Stephen ready to amplify him, he believes the league is about to face some long overdue questions head on.